I used to work in a kebab shop in Australia. I ended up in China, stayed there for 12 years. I learned how to speak, read and write Mandarin. I did my MBA in China. I ended up opening around 5 to 6 major schools across Inner Mongolia. I have over 8 million followers in China. Here's my story. I've also published 2 books in China. Now, before I headed off to China, I was working at my dad's kebab shop in Sydney. They're called Sahara Kebabs. I don't know if you know it. My dad and my uncle started Sahara Grill. And yeah, I was in the kebab shop and I had a mate named Chris call me. Chris, mind you, was one of those guys who had massive yellow fever. And for all of you that don't know, yellow fever is when a person is absolutely obsessed with Asians. It's kind of scary and it's weird, but I guess everyone has their own way. I mean, it's not weird to love Asian women. It's weird to have yellow fever, if you know what I mean. I was working as a software developer. I quit to help my dad out because he had health issues and I had to help him out in his shop. You know, I'd do anything for my dad. But while I was there, I was kind of in the middle of wanting to go abroad because I'd lost my driver's license. You know, working as a software developer without a license is bad. So I told my dad, I said, look, Dad, your health is getting better. I might go to China because my mate Chris, the yellow fever guy, told me that China's got a lot of opportunities. I might try for a few months. My dad, in his most Turkish woke voice, said, you go, how much you make? I said, Dad, I'm going to learn Chinese. I'm going to stay there for 3 months. You go and come back very quick, okay? Very quick. I said, okay, Dad, I'll go and come back very quick. And he said, okay, go now. I said, no, I'm not going. No, you go. I let you go. I'm going to rent your room. I said, no, Dad, I don't want you to rent my room. No, I rent. I said, okay, fine. So I ended up going to China and I found an agency to send me to China. And over there, the agency promised me that I would be learning Chinese and working at the same time. Kind of like a free trade kind of thing agreement. You go there, you teach English, but they teach you Chinese for free. It was a lie. I was scammed. Let me explain. I ended up in a small, not a small city, in northeastern city called Shenyang. I landed at 3 a.m. I was supposed to be in China for 3 months. That was it. This short Chinese lady came to pick me up, said, hello, David, today I take you to your job. I said, what job? I'm here to learn Chinese. No. I take you to Inner Mongolia. I said, Inner Mongolia? I'm here to just stay in Dalian and Beijing. No, Beijing. It's Inner Mongolia. Let's go. And I had nothing to say. And me being me, having ADHD and being, the hunt for dopamine is who I am. And I was like, yeah, dopamine. Let's go. Let's try this. Let's get our kidneys and freaking liver sold. Anyway, long story short, I ended up on a train, middle of the night. It's a 3-bunk bed train, old green rattle train. Slept on the very top. Of course, that's what my ticket was. And I'm a big guy and I literally had a millimeter between my stomach and the ceiling. Train was a sleepover, ended up in Beijing. From Beijing, they put me on an airplane, sent me to Inner Mongolia. I met my new boss. Mind you, I wasn't supposed to be a teacher. I ended up meeting this lady named Miss Dai, D-A-I, I swear to God, I'm not making that up. And she's like, you are very different from picture. I said, what do you mean? By the way, it's a Mongolian lady, so the accent is different. I said, what do you mean? Show me the resume that you have. And it is a blonde guy with literally blue eyes. I'm like, dude, that's not me. I'm me, that's not me. He said, I know. It's okay, let's go. You start work Monday. And by mind you, this is Saturday. So, I know shit. I don't speak Chinese. I know shit about anything. And I was like, no, I'm here to learn Chinese. When do we start the classes? No class. You start work Monday, 8 a.m. Don't be late. She took me to this tiny apartment with no bedding on a bed. It was like a piece of wood. Mind you, I love sleeping on those now. But anyway, I ended up staying there and long story short, I was working and I was fired 3 months later because I wanted to leave and I didn't want to go to work anymore. And the lady was really shitty, so she fired me and I had no visa. Then I realized holy crap, there is a market in China to open schools. And my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, mind you, she's Mongolian, from Inner Mongolia, Chinese Mongolian. She helped me open my first school. I was a hustler, man. I was out in the streets. I was giving out those freaking pamphlets, bro. I was like, yeah, come on, study English. Let's go. I was like passing them out like a dealer selling drugs. I swear to God. Anyway, and then finally, I ended up giving out all these pamphlets. And then suddenly all these students started wanting to study English in my school. And I was like, holy shit, I have no visa and I have all these students. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I looked around to see if I can open a school, find some kind of license. I found the guy selling them, some dodgy bastard. And then I called my mom. I said, Mom, can you sell my Honda Civic? I had a Honda Civic. I missed my car. And she said, yes, I can sell your Honda Civic. Aren't you coming back? I said, no. And my dad said, you come back. Why you don't come? Your room is rented. Maybe you come and live somewhere else. I said, Dad, no, I don't want to talk to you. And then my mom sold my Honda Civic, sent me the money. I used that money to buy the license of the guy. I had my first school and I had students coming in. I changed my visa because I had the school I could do my visa. My God, everything was going so well. I had students flocking in within the first year. I swear to God, I had over 135 students in year one. My God, I was reeking it in. It was so good. It was coming in. Year two, I had like over 8 American teachers working for me, a couple of Brits as well. And it was just growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time it was 2015, just say hi to my neighbors. By the time it was 2015, I had started growing on social media because I wanted more students. So I started making videos, funny videos, interesting videos, and I became a blogger, you know. I ended up getting tens of millions of followers. If you go to Google and type David Galassi, there's like some fucking Wikipedia someone wrote about the journey. It's really weird and cool. And then all these students started coming all over China, all over to my tiny little school in Inner Mongolia. So I ended up opening more schools. I ended up opening several schools. By the way, all this money came from me. Not my, like, I had no money when I first went there. It came from the schools that I was actually doing. You know, it was amazing. Holy shit. And then the schools grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. Oh my God, it was doing so well. And then in 2000 and around, I would say around 2017, I got really sick. I had severe kidney problems. I was about to die. Everything was about to go. Everything. My doctors in China said, Mr. Galassi, I suggest you go home. That was scary. By that time I had my daughter, Aria. And I was scared, and everything just came down crashing. All that success, all of that came down crashing. Nothing was left in my heart except for wanting to have more time with my family. Then I ended up coming back to Australia. The Australian doctor made me worse. And then I ended up going back and found a doctor in Hong Kong, and he sorted me out, and I'm still alive thanks to him. Now, Dr. Professor Lai in Hong Kong, I love you. Thank you for fixing my kidneys. And yeah, then COVID hit. Schools got shut down. Ended up turning the schools into an online thing. That did well, and it's still growing. And that, my friends, is my ridiculously crazy summed up story. I hope you're not bored, because if you're bored, I'm very sorry. See you guys. That's me.